Good morning, students. Myself Indu from the Regional College of Pharmacy, your assistant professor. So, we are going to study cosmetic science in the 8th semester, and in which we are going to cover sunscreen and the SPF. So, basically, from starting the chapter sunscreen, first we have to understand what the sunscreen is, from where we use it, and how we get to the formulation of the sunscreen that they are required for the cosmetic use. Okay, whether it's comes under the cosmetic use, all us know cosmetic use, cosmetic plus pharmaceutics is cosmetic use. So sunscreens are come under the cosmetic use. Now, why we use sunscreen and what's the need? Why we use and what's the need? Itself is a big question. So which answers states why we are using the sunscreen in our day-to-day life. Basically, sunscreens are the sun protection creams, lotions which are used to protect skin debris or epidermis from UV radiations. सनस्क्रीन क्या है? सन प्रोटेक्शन क्रीम्स और लोशंस हैं जो यूज किए जाते हैं टू प्रोटेक्ट द स्किन फ्रॉम द यूवी रेडिएशंस. सो वाई वी यूज? हम यूज करते हैं जो हमारी एपिडर्मिस है. स्किन की 3 लेयर्स होती हैं. Let it suppose the part of skin. This is the epidermis, outermost layer, dermis, and hypodermis. Now, in the epidermis that is exposed in the atmosphere, okay, it also having the 4 layers. That is not required now to define. So what it is? Exposed layer, okay, it's beneath and it's in the innermost layer. Now the exposed layer comes in the contact with the direct sunlight that is coming on our atmospheric region. Now, what is the benefit of using sunscreen? Okay, the sunlights are coming. The sunlight is coming. So that's good for our skin. So why we are protecting our skin from the good sunlight? Basically, the morning light, which gives us vitamin D, and the morning sunlight, morning sun rays are essential for the production of vitamin D and for the manufacturing of the vitamin D in our skin. Now, if we have to overexpose our skin in the sunlight, then there is a skin damage. Can be seen in various forms. Okay, there are pigmentation, hyperpigmentation, skin cancer, acne, pimples, and the uneven skin tone, and patchy skins, and many more skin diseases are related to the skin damage due to the sunlight. Now, why it is harmful for us. Basically, just get a little detail about the scattering of light. Sun is the source जिससे लाइट आती है. अब इसके अंदर में हमारे पास में 3 रीजन बनते हैं. That is the UV, it's visible, and it's IR. So UV spectrum is from 100 to 400, 400 to 700 is the visible, and 700 to 1200 is the 700 to 900 is the IR spectrum. IR is not so harmful. Okay, it's the less scattered wavelength, but the UV is the highly scattered wavelength, and it's scattered mostly visible region where we see the things. It's cause no damage to the skin, and as such there is no damage on the skin can be visible through the visible region. Now we have to talk about the UV region that creates all the chaos, and from which we have to study the sunscreen. Now the UV range is started from the 1000 nanometer to 400 nanometer. There are the 3 scatterings of UV: UVC, UVB and the UVA. Okay, UVC, that is blocked by the ozone layer. They are not coming to the atmosphere, Earth atmosphere. Now we have to remember this. Now there are 2 UV wavelengths which are coming directly to the atmosphere. Now UVB starts from 200 to 400, somewhere is between the 300. So these are the 2 markings from where UVB and UVA wavelength fall down. Now these type of wavelengths are very scattered, and they goes deeply into our skin layers. It is the epidermis, dermis and hypodermis. So they penetrate deeply into our skin layer. Now what they cause? They cause for the pigmentation, blemish, uneven skin, skin burn, and skin cancer. The UV wavelength is getting absorbed by our epidermis and dermis cells. Then they create many problems. So from avoid all of these situations, we have to use the sunscreen. Now, what is the sunscreen? What is the mechanism of sunscreen? So they can reduce all of these symptoms. So sunscreens are basically classified into 2 categories, which are the physical and chemical. Physical, those who revert back the wavelength. Chemical, those who absorbs the wavelength and does not pass through the epidermis. So these are the 2 mechanisms in which the sunscreen are based and in which the sunscreens are formed. Now physical, we talk about the physical. Then the physical having a larger size, then skin pores, they can reflect the wavelengths or UV lights. Example, titanium dioxide, zinc are the common example of the physical sunscreen ingredient. Now we talk about the chemical sunscreen. Chemical sunscreen having PABA esters, benzophenols, salicylates, PABA, para-amino benzoic acid, they are the mostly used as a chemical in a chemical sunscreen ingredient. They absorb the UV light in their granules, so they do not penetrate from the upper layer of the skin and the skin do not destroy. Okay, so these are the mechanism of the physical and the chemical sunscreen. Now, how much protection we have needed when we are making sunscreen? Now we are writing down the two phrases, sunscreens and the SPF. What is the SPF? How we describe the SPF? In our nowadays, all of us that we are using the sunscreen, we have to check the SPF number. That is the 50 plus, 30, 40, 80 plus, 70. So these are the different SPF numbers. How we get these SPF number? And we call it as the sun protection factor. So what basically the sun protection factor is, how we determine the factor. Key, this sunscreen is 50 plus, this sunscreen is having 50 plus SPF factor. Basically the factor, SPF factor is determined by rate of skin damage with sunscreen by the rate of skin damage without sunscreen. Now, if I have to check the skin damage with or without sunscreen, then I just apply sunscreen in half of my face and I just keep it normal my other half of the face. Then I just get in the exposure of sun, that is the direct sunlight. Now my half face that is uncovered or unmasked without sunscreen is getting damaged within the 10 seconds. And the rate of damage will be increased up to the let it suppose be the 30 seconds. Now it will be the 220 seconds for the area which I have covered with the sunscreen. Now we divide it, we get 3 seconds. We get the 4. So if we are using 120 seconds for the skin damage, but the normal skin time for the skin damage is 20 seconds, then we get 60 or the 40 SPF factor sunscreen. So this is the method where we use the sunscreen SPF factor. Now is the reapplication time, in which time period we have to reapply the sunscreen, because it is not enough if once we use the sunscreen and did not reapply. It's on the low intensity, high, moderate SPF, moderate SPF, high SPF. अब जनरल लो इंटेंसिटी SPF are 20, moderate SPF are 30 to 50, and high SPF are more than 50. So reapplication time depends on this. It will have to reapply within 1 to 2 hours. Moderate have to reapply it in 3 to 4 hours, and 50 plus SPF have to reapply it in 7 to 8 hours. Okay. I hope we understand about sunscreen and the SPF. Then we continue our next topic in the next lecture. Thank you.